Hi again, it's Kat Sturtz from rockingyourpath.com with another episode of Fast Action Fridays. And today I have one more awesome guest, a good friend of mine, Moira Hutchison. There's no N in there, right? Hutchison.
That's right, no N.
Who's up above me in Canada. And today she's going to share some tips about letting go and the importance of it and how we can do that so we can soar to greater heights and prosperity in the new year. Did I get that right?
You did. That sounded awesome.
All right. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself and your background.
Thanks so much, Kat. It's always great to spend time with you. And virtually, but we've actually done it in person too, which
Yes, we have.
fun too. So a wee bit about me. I call myself a mindfulness coach, but it's actually kind of more of an umbrella term to really describe the fact that I am a mindfulness coach who helping people bring calmness and ease into their busy corporate life or their entrepreneurial business. But I also offer a number of different life purpose guidance, different types of readings to help you get into your intuition and get the guidance that's actually around you. I work with people over fairly long periods of time generally because I become their sort of go-to person to hash out ideas, to brainstorm, to really get yourself in alignment with your purpose, with your calling, with the what it is, what lights you up, what did you come to this life for? And then, like you said, I love what you said about the letting go so you can soar, because really, in a nutshell, that everything that I do, I offer so many different types of modalities, and really that's the guiding part for me is when I'm looking at maybe adding a new modality is, will this help me help people let go more and become more authentically and truly who they are?
Yeah. And like me, we have a lot of experience and a lot of training and a lot of things we love to go to help our clients and ourselves. But sometimes you need to step away from yourself and get help from another coach.
Absolutely.
Because we get in our own ways, right?
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah.
And it's recognizing that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you and I both know and put a high value on understanding our own personal intuition in that process.
Most definitely.
Right. One of the things I wanted to ask you about today is you've got a system called 4A's to help people let go of things. I'd really like you to dive into that with some both fast action tips for doing that and also the theory behind why this helps and works.
Okay, so this came about just by the amount of different types of conversations that I had, and you know this yourself, that when you start repeating the same thing over and over and over again, you know that you need to start teaching a class and actually making this formula. So how this works, and so I kind of joke about this a wee bit, that it's the 4A's, but I also say it's 4A's into your mind. Just playing with words, of course. So the 4A's, and I will go into each one of them in more depth, but the 4A's is awareness, acceptance, action, and adaptation. So let's take a person who maybe they're an entrepreneur and they've got a business and they feel like they no matter what they do, they always seem to hit a ceiling. So number one, with awareness, you have to be aware of what are you doing on a daily basis? What are you not doing on a daily basis? What are people suggesting that you do? What resonates with you? So this awareness part has to be internally as well as externally, right? So just aware. The other part of that awareness is, where do you want to be?
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about soaring in the new year. What does that mean? Does that mean you want to add X amount of income to your stream? Does it mean you want X amount of more classes? Do you want to speak more? We were talking about that. You want to speak more. Do you want do you want more one-on-one clients, or do you want to start working with groups? So just being aware. So this is like being a wee bit of a detective when we start to get into the awareness. Just being aware. So a fast action tip on that one is to always have a little notepad either write things down or keep something on your computer. I actually, for this kind of process, I actually really like to handwrite things, because the concept of getting it out of my head and just being really aware and seeing it physically, there's something for me that just writing it down in my notepad, you know?
I think there's a real energy connection between our minds and our fingers, or whatever we use to pull from inside and put into another form that's just different than just typing into a computer screen or a computer program. I know I'm discovering all the time that I go to write something, and two things happen. There are things written that I really didn't realize were inside me, and it's like, whoa, that's pretty cool. Yeah. And then there are those days where there seems to be a disconnect between what sounded wonderful in my head and didn't come out exactly the same way on paper.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. But the actual physical writing, to me, that allows me to really be me and be honest with it, as opposed to sometimes when you're typing, you've got a censor. You've got your little judge saying, oh, people don't want to know that.
Yeah, it's so easy to correct it.
I know. So that's my tip about the awareness, is just writing it down.
All right.
And no judging, because that's the next day. Remember I said acceptance. So at acceptance, you're now going to be looking at what the sort of intel that you gathered at awareness. And you're going to say, well, you know, in my awareness part, I might be saying, I am aware that I want to attract more clients, or that I should be making these calls, or that I need to follow up with people that I met at a networking activity. So you're being aware, but maybe you're not doing it, right? So, but here's the key piece, and this is really, really important. If you want to soar and you want to get past this, you have to accept it. There's no way around it. And it's really funny, when I say this to people, they look at me. I've had the most amazing looks given to me. Because we seem to think that if you accept it, it means you're keeping it. And it absolutely does not. If I accept that I procrastinate, or that I don't follow up with a networking contact, or that I don't do the things that I know are going to attract clients, it just is. It's not right or wrong, good or bad, it just is. But here's the thing, until we can accept it, we can't change it.
Right. Acceptance is a form of decision making, and you either choose to make the decision, or you get the decision made for you by inaction.
Exactly. And that tends to hurt a little bit when it's like you on the head a wee bit. But you see, the thing is that, and another example that I've given people in that one is that, if, let's say the goal is that you want to lose weight, and that you say to yourself, you look in the mirror, so at the awareness stage, you might be looking and saying, oh, there's double chins, or, you know, I can't fit in my clothes, or, so that's at the awareness. But if you then don't accept what is, and you say, I'm going to accept what's there when it's 20 pounds lighter, or when I can fit back into that size, you actually won't do it, because you actually start getting into punishment now.
I think that's what happens when I see so many people in clothing that just does not look flattering to them, because it's completely the wrong size, whether it's too tight or way too loose. And we're not talking about being able to afford new clothes. We're talking about deliberately wearing clothes that are not flattering because you're not accepting of the size you truly are.
Exactly. I see that so much too, and it breaks my heart. Because, and this is the area that people get really caught up on. That it's like, what do you mean, Moira? I'm supposed to accept this? Well,
go ahead.
Who are you not to accept it? Because really, it's just something. It's just a stage. It's just your body.
Can you give us an example that would relate to a home-based business person?
Of the not being able to accept? Well, that's a really excellent one, because I have a number of conversations with people who can't believe what I do, simply because they say to me, oh, well, when I work at home, or I'm a home-based business, you know, I get stuck on Facebook, or I don't get dressed, I sit in my pajamas all day, and then before I know it, the day's gone. So somebody who's doing that, number one, accept it. You do really have to accept it.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to go back. So see these steps. I'm talking about these steps in a linear fashion, but it's a dance, right? So if you're aware that you're a home-based business and you want to have a certain amount of things done, and here's what you do and don't do, at the acceptance space, when you look at that, and I hear people say that, they'll say, they'll be having that whole conversation about beating themselves up. About today I decided that was it. I was going to only go on Facebook for 10 minutes, and then the next time I looked at the clock, it was 2 hours had gone by, and I didn't make the phone calls, or I didn't get the planning done, or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, for today, accept it. Then go back to your awareness. How much do you want that client? How much do you want that new business? Or
why are you avoiding that particular task?
Yeah. And so in your why are you avoiding that particular task? Is it because you don't know what you're doing and you need to ask somebody? Maybe you need a coach to coach you through it. Maybe you need to farm it out, because it's really funny, this piece, and I've done this one myself too, of, I'm not generating the amount of income to justify farming out something or hiring somebody for it. Then if you start looking at how much time is your time worth, so let's say for argument's sake, your time is worth $50 an hour, and that you spend 5 hours procrastinating or doing something that's not contributing towards that work being done. Would it not have been easier to just say to the person that could maybe get it done in half an hour, here's your money? I think I've seen it, people in small business do that there's this thing of I have to do everything, and actually we do. When we first start out, we do. There isn't any real way around that. It's like,
not unless you have extra money to spend in the beginning.
Yeah.
But that's not the case for most of the people we work with.
No, some people are fortunate enough to do that. I'm thinking of here. I live near Ottawa, which is government town, and so I will often have clients who have just been packaged out of the government, and so they'll have a big chunk of capital to invest in setting their business up. But that's not really the norm, People step into this business, the business world, and sometimes they'll start a business, then figure out that this isn't really what they signed up for, or this was their zone of expertise, and so they'll sort of change. But what we're talking about is a dance between awareness and acceptance, and that is so important to realize that when you're running your own business, you are the employee, but you're the boss too.
Mm-hmm.
You have to dance between two of those things. And so sometimes I might say that to somebody. What would you say to an employee that was being as unproductive as you are right now? What would you
Mm-hmm.
do? How would you incentivize it? How would you change that? And then go do it. Go do it to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So if it needs to be that, I'm going to reward you because you got that product developed, or that the blog post written, or the taping of an interview or a recording of some sort, to look at what do you need? What do you need to keep yourself motivated? And you do have to pat yourself on the back, because it can be lonely, can't it?
Oh, it can be. It absolutely can be. But I'll tell you, one of the benefits of working with a VA is having someone to connect to during the week.
Yeah, absolutely. And the girl that does work for me, she comes up with excellent ideas that I might be saying, okay, this is what I want it to look like or be like, and she'll go, oh, hey, how about this? So that it does. It's nice to have that input. And so back to that again is that you have to treat yourself with that sort of compassion of how would you be speaking to an employee.
Exactly.
With that.
All right. So we've really covered awareness and acceptance. What's number 3?
Action. So in awareness that, you're getting really clear on what it is you want to achieve, what is your patterns, how you do things, then you accept everything is just as it is. But now you are going to be seeing a bit of a gap, right? Because if you're aware that you want to generate more income, or you want to speak more, or have a different product, you might be trying to develop a new product, right? Now you have to do something. So the action pieces need to be done with the knowing of what you've discovered in that acceptance and the awareness part, because it's your actions are going to be taking you away from your goal or towards it. So in if your awareness is, I want to develop a product and maybe I want to automate it. This is actually something that I'm working with at the moment, is that I have a lot of products, but I haven't got to the place of automating it. So now I need to be aware that that's what I want and accept the things that I've been doing to procrastinate or put it off. Maybe I need to look at farming, getting somebody to help me, and then do that, like connect with somebody. This is what I want. Or if I'm going to do it by myself, then I actually set out the bullet points and start doing it.
Yeah.
Now, in action, a lot of times, something that I find really fascinating is when we start taking the action, that acceptance piece starts to really go up.
That's when that law of attraction really kicks in, because we're not just sitting there saying, oh, give me, I want. We are taking action and putting out there the vibes that draw to us what we are seeking, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's something I've said so many times, because people will come and sit in my office, because I see people in person as well as virtually, but people will sit in front of me and say, I have to figure all of this out before I actually take any action steps. I have to figure out what it is I want. And my thing is you can't get the answers while you're sitting on the couch. You actually have to get up and open that door.
It's like expecting your evening meal to suddenly appear on your dining table because you thought about what you wanted to eat, but you didn't go out and buy the groceries and put them together.
Exactly. And you don't even have a recipe for what you want. So you have to have the recipe, and then you have to have the ingredients, and you actually have to get up and put it together. Or pay somebody to do those, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's the action. So even let's say in that scenario that you were paying somebody to find a recipe for you and go and get the ingredients and come to your home and make it. That's still an action on your part.
It is. Right? It is. Absolutely. And you and I were talking before we started our interview today, and behind me on my board is one of my projects, and it's bullet pointed, all of the things that have to be done. And then I went back and color coded it with a real keen eye. What can I automate? What's time now to let go, which is our theme today, letting go. What can I let go of? Because it's an important part of my business model. And for many years, I handled it all that was related to this particular project. And now I see, I can let go of this. I still have to be physically here to do the interviews. Only I can do that. I can't assign that to my VA.
Yes.
Though I have had guests like Moira take care of the tech things on the other side before, when my system wasn't working. Yes. That's a story for another day. But so there was the automating. What could I automate? And then once you make that awareness and acceptance that, yes, that could be automated, suddenly the ideas flooded in on how I could accomplish that automation. And then you have to decide what can only you do and what could be done in tandem with someone else. But always with that awareness, what's the payoff at the end for automating? It gives me more time to work on more revenue producing things, and yet still have this wonderful project in place. So yeah, good advice.
And what you're describing is a perfect illustration of what I'm talking about this system, about the awareness and the acceptance, and then action, because what you're doing with that board behind you is a perfect example of the action. Mm-hmm. And that action place can keep going, right? Because now you're saying, I need a VA to do that. So there's an action. Mm-hmm. And then I need to book time for myself to do this part. So there's more action than you're going to actually do them, right? That final A is adapting. So adaption or adapting, because now you're somebody else. You are somebody new than when you first started, because you've accepted, right? So maybe you've got some habits that you procrastinated, or you tried to keep all that information that you put on your board, that maybe you tried to have it all in your head. So if that is how you are, and I think a lot of people do that, one of the biggest things that I really, really encourage people to do, and I did mention that about writing things down in a notepad, I encourage people to just do that all the time anyway. Like if you're doing something, let's say you're putting together a keynote speech, and when you're getting your topics and you're putting your outline, you might be having a conversation in your head. Who are you to talk like that? People aren't going to listen to you. Why are you saying this stuff? Those are the types of things you really need to just write down, because that's just little pieces or little patterns in you that can actually potentially derail you if you listen to them.
Yeah. And this goes back to not only the action step and the acceptance and the awareness step, but I know you've experienced this too, as well as our clients when we work with them. Once you do each of these things in tandem and individually, solutions come.
Oh, yes.
Like
absolutely.
So often we hear, I don't know how to do something. It's like, but you haven't even made a decision to accept that you want to do that.
Yes.
Accept that. Make that the first decision. You're already aware that something's there that you want to follow, but you haven't accepted that you could actually do that.
Yes.
And then you take that next action step, and ma'am, it's that adage, the teacher appears when the student's ready.
Yes. And the teacher can actually sometimes be you. It's your own inner intuition or your inner sage being, if you like. And that's how come I'm saying about writing down those critical thoughts, because sometimes those are the ones that we hear, the blah, 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 blah. That's stopping us hearing the do this, call that, be that, do that, because it's there. We actually do all have access to that. It's just we have to hush the chatter.
Yep, you got to let it out. It's like, okay, you had your say. Now what else is there to explore?
Exactly. I do it all the time. Thanks for your opinion. Thanks for your opinion.
And we've done that with each other sometimes too.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you actually it starts to flow. And then, like you said, and that was a brilliant thing to interject there too, Kat, was the piece about the law of attraction is always in operation anyway. So if your vibration is going that I don't have something to say, or people won't like me, or people won't want to hear it, that's our vibration. And guess what? We're actually going to attract stuff to prove that. Yeah. Whereas if we keep cleaning it and just saying, okay, thank you, that was just a piece, I'm letting it go, constantly letting it go. Because this is the thing, is that it's really important to acknowledge what it is you feel. So if it is a judgmental, negative thought or vibe, you have to feel it. It does need you to feel it. And then you get to let it go. And it goes. You're releasing it. But that's what cleans up your vibration to then say, now what about this? Right. The universe can then kind of co-conspire and say, okay, well, your vibration's like up here now. How about this? And sometimes, just a quick thing on there is that sometimes ideas and opportunities that you never, ever thought possible or even were anywhere in your vibration or your awareness suddenly land in. It's actually kind of cool.
Oh, it is cool. And I know you've got a lot of modalities that you have trained with, but one of the ones that we share is EFT tapping.
Yes.
And one of the main tenets of that is you can't let go. You can't ease a negative vibration that's stopping you from doing something or that's negatively affecting you until you make it aware, until you accept that it lives within you. Then you can start moving past it.
Yeah. Even though this is here, I still love myself.
Exactly. All right. 2 things I want you to do. Do a real quick summary of these wonderful 4A tips.
So the 4 A's is awareness, acceptance, action, and adaptation. So get aware of where you are, what you want to be, accept everything about you and what's going on. Take action, do something. Get get moving in the direction of what you want. And then adapt, because now you're going to have some feedback about what did that action step do? Did it take you towards what you want? Did it feel good? Did it align with what you were trying to do? Or take you away? And then you can keep going. The thing about all 4 of them is they keep repeating, because as soon as you adapt, now you have to be aware.
Yep.
And then accept an action and adapt. So this, to me, I see this as a spiral.
Yeah, that goes up. I do too. And it works so well when combined with what I call my AAA approach, which is adapt, adjust. I mean, it's adopt, adapt, adjust. So it's take that last one of yours and continues going. And where with my clients, we get into the actual physical things you need to do to, and sometimes they're techie things. And I know you have some of the same things to once you've done those 4 things. Now comes some of the real work that only you can do. Yes, absolutely. All right. The other thing I want you to do is you have your own tarot deck now, and I'd love for you to discuss it because it's part of your letting go guidance system. So
absolutely.
Show it to us, explain a little bit about it, and we will make sure to include on the replay a link to your site so they can explore more of this and your free offers, and as well as your other programs that are available.
Awesome. Sounds perfect. So this is the deck. These are, there's 2 parts to the deck. So it's the letting go guidance system, I call this. So this first part I'm fanning out here there are 44 cards here. And how it works is, when you're wanting to do something, or if you're in a funk, the reason I developed these in actual fact is that there's thousands and thousands of oracle cards out on the market, and they're great. They're needed, and they're wonderful, uplifting, spiritual guidance messages. But if I'm stuck, if I'm in a funk, or I'm depressed, or I'm anxious, or I'm wondering how on earth can I do this, I don't want to be told, go meditate, or your guardian angel is here. It's not gonna land for me, right? So I really wanted to help. Well, actually, I felt like this should be out there, and so I started doing a lot of research and couldn't find anything. So the whole piece is if I'm in that area, then something is blocking me. Something's I need to let something go. And so that's what these cards are things like this one here is connection that no longer serves. This one is your baggage. Beliefs that others are better than you. Shame, negativity, a sense of lack, the need for control, limitations. So like I said, there's 44 here. And so they work similar to an oracle deck, where you would, if you are just, actually what I do, a lot of times I will end up a coaching session, is that when we've had a conversation, I will pick these up and shuffle them on behalf of my client, or if they're in person, they get to do it for themselves, and then pick a card. I don't know that it's never not worked, because it'll be pretty much.
Yeah, I think what happens with those cards, with the wishing well cards that I use from Carl Jung, is that there is no wrong answer in the cards. There is no right.
Yeah.
There's only one right answer within the cards. They connect with whatever the vibration that is out there and helps you make that connection that you need in the moment. Would you say?
Absolutely. Totally. So actually, when I do, because I actually do tarot card readings sometimes as part of my coaching program, but sometimes just as a standalone thing. And then I always pull 3 of these. And these are brilliant for doing that, because in a tarot reading, I might have visited with, here's the area that you're having blocks or problems, and it might even show a couple of opportunities to maybe go this way or this way. But then when we draw these, it makes it very clear. This is what you got to let go.
Mm-hmm.
So these can be used. I use them in conjunction with the different approaches that I have. Clients of mine are actually buying them themselves because they are using them. Actually, somebody said that she uses it every day. She pulls one to say, what do I have to let go of?
Help us get out of our own way is how I see them.
Yeah, absolutely. It really does. So you can do them as just a pull of one card. or you can actually do the 3-card. And so on my, I have a video that explains how to use them for people. If you go to my website, there is a link. So wellnesswithmoira.com, there's a link to a page that gives you all the details about the cards, and there's a wee video where I explain why I did it and more about it. The other part to them, so like I said, so there's 44 cards here about letting go, and then there's another component it's based on a 12 chakra system. So the idea that I originally did this with is that these are just color coded, they're just droplets of water is the imagery for them, and they're all coded for the chakra.
Which show people the wonderful necklace you're wearing.
Yes, I've got my chakra
colors. Yeah, and my fans have seen the wonderful stained glass piece I have in my Reiki room that is the chakra colors. So
beautiful.
Yeah,
it's lovely. So this is based on a 12 chakra system. This is the chain that I have is the traditional 7 chakra system that most people know about. Because I'm not a conformist, I kind of
that's why we get along.
Everybody says 7.
A little quirky.
Exactly. That's exactly it. So I'm like, well, everybody knows what the 7 are, so I'm going to do 12. So the idea is that if you get clear on, let's say, for instance, that I drew a card here, and it's depending on others for your happiness. So that's what I have to let go of. So my idea behind bringing in the chakras is because we are all multi-level beings, right? We are physical, emotional, spiritual, mental beings with a chakra system. And so then the idea would be, in order to let go of that, which chakra should I focus on first or bring into alignment in order to help that happen? And so then, actually that makes sense too. Look, I pulled the heart chakra.
Yep, it does.
That's
awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
That's kind of how they work. And so, yeah.
And you told me that your husband was involved with the creation of these cards.
Yes.
We've got a few minutes left. Tell us about that.
So this is really funny because I had a reading done where my astrology friend saying, Moira, you and your husband are going to do a collaborative project. And I'm like, no way, because he's so not into the work that I do. He's proud of me, but he's not into this. And then I start yakking away about these cards and saying, oh yeah, he took all the pictures for these. He said, do you think that might be the collaborative project I'm talking about? So yes. They're gorgeous. They're actually, I'm very, very proud of them. He did a fabulous job. They are all pictures of I'll hold that up so you can see it. So
I'm looking forward to getting my set so I can see them all and use them. I love, I love using various energy tools because like we've mentioned, we can get in our own way. So not only can we use them to help the people we serve, we can help them use them for ourselves too.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then of course I had to turn them purple. You know that, guys. Everything from Moira has got to be purple. So
yeah.
When he took all the pictures, I said, thanks, honey. I hope you don't mind. I'm going to turn them all purple now.
Well, I love that. And I loved talking with you again and having you back as my special Fast Action Fridays guest today. You will return again, I'm sure, in the future.
I'm sure. It's so much fun hanging out with you, Kat.
And I still need to get up to Ottawa area.
Absolutely.
We're not that far away.
No, that would be fun.
Well, this is Kat Sturtz from rockingyourpath.com, closing another episode of Fast Action Fridays, and thanking again my wonderful guest, Moira Hutchison. I have a friend that's with the N, so it's hard not for me to say that. And you're going to want to check out her website, wellnesswithmoira.com. And don't forget to check back next week when I have another special guest. And in the meantime, remember to keep rocking your unique path to success. Bye-bye.